FPL is finally back, and it's back with some major changes. These changes are going to affect our strategies, the players we choose, and how points are scored. So in this video, I'm going to break down all of those changes so that you can make the most informed decisions for your teams. Let's get into it. So let's start off with my favorite change for the new upcoming season. You will now get 2 sets of each chip. One of each chip from game weeks 1 to 19, and one of each chip from game weeks 20 to 38. And FPL word this as more chips, more points, more fun. I like this change because in previous season, you would just be sat around waiting to use your chips for the double game weeks later on in the season. This is going to bring in new strategies that you wouldn't have seen in previous years. And it's hard not to agree with FPL on this one. More chips is just more fun. I think you're going to see some interesting strategies emerge, in particular with a free hit this season. For instance, Saka has 2 great fixtures in his opening 2 game weeks, but then he plays Liverpool away in game week 3. So this would allow you to go for a player with a nicer fixture in game week 3 to then have Saka back in your team for Nottingham Forest in game week 4. And you could do all of that while still knowing you have a free hit for the double and blank game weeks later on in the season. So that's just going to lead to more point swings and more fun in your mini leagues, and I think that's just a good thing. And will it now mean the managers consider a bench boost in game week 1? Potentially, but there's also going to be another opportunity to use your first bench boost after game week 16, which I'll come on to now. But before I do that, please, if you're enjoying the video, make sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel. I always try and present my information as quickly and clearly as possible so that I don't waste any more of your time than I need to. But without any further ado, let's move on to the next change, and that is that you will now receive a 5 transfer top up in game week 16 to help you manage your team around players going to AFCON. In previous years, AFCON has often meant that we avoid players going to AFCON around game week 12. Not this year, because no matter how many transfers you have in game week 16, you will be topped up 5 transfers to help you manage those players that are going away for 5 or 6 weeks. I think this is going to work like a mini wildcard. You're going to have an extra 5 transfers that might help you get your bench strong enough to use your bench boost in game week 16 onwards. I definitely think this is aimed at more casual players who perhaps don't follow football as much, and maybe they don't even know that AFCON's taking place. A lot of actively engaged managers probably don't like this change because it's dumbing the game down a bit, but at the end of the day, the game's supposed to be fun for everyone, so I don't really see the harm in it. And I'm not just saying that because I took 18 hits last season, though it does cross my mind, but I am genuinely saying that because it is more inclusive of everyone that plays the game. Okay, so moving on to the next one, changes for defensive contributions. Now this is an interesting one. In this season, defenders will gain 2 points if they make 10 collective defensive actions within a match, including clearances, tackles, blocks, and interceptions. Forwards and midfielders will also gain 2 points for defensive contributions, but they'll need to make 12 defensive actions rather than 10. The slight difference here is that ball recoveries will also count as defensive actions for midfielders and forwards, as a reward for all of the pressing that they do. Now, although all players will benefit from this will definitely have a greater impact on the defensive players such as the centre backs and the centre defensive midfielders. I don't know what effects this will have on the players that we choose, but I do think there will be some impact. In previous years, we would have normally gone for 5 attacking fullbacks, but that's probably going to change this year because we're probably more likely to consider centre backs that are going to get points for those defensive actions. It's hard to say how I feel about this one because I can definitely see what they're trying to do. They want to take some focus away from the attacking side of the game so that we'll consider a broader range of players. Trouble is, do I really want to be celebrating interceptions and tackles because I've got Rodri in my team? Also, they're a bit subjective, so you can already see it now, people getting angry and tweeting at FPL. Well, actually, Ryan Christie got 13 defensive actions, not 11, so he should have actually got an extra 2 points. Like, who cares? Moving on to assists. Now, this is nothing major. Essentially, you're just going to see more assists this season. Players will now be awarded points for assists for deflected crosses, which they sort of already were, but this is more concrete now. This will also apply to stray passes that lead to a goal, but crucially, you'll only get the points if a defender has touched the ball once. So if a winger crosses the ball in and then it becomes pimple in the box, you won't get the assist. But if it's a deflected cross that's only been touched once, you will get the assist. Now, this isn't going to have a major effect on points because these types of goals are very rare. They normally only happen like 3 or 4 times a season and people tend to get worked up over them, but it's a change, so there you go. Finally, there will be 2 extra leagues for the best FPL managers from last season, a 10% league and a 1% league, which unfortunately I didn't get to. So if you finish in the top 1% or the top 10% in FPL last season, you will automatically be added into these leagues, and in theory, they should be more competitive. So there you have it. There's all the changes for FPL this season. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you actually think of the changes. I personally quite like them. At the end of the day, especially the double chips change, I think that's really going to make mini leagues and just the game as a whole more exciting and interesting. Going to be a lot of point swings up for grabs. So I'm going to wrap this up and I'll see you in the next video.